We have update number 4 of the Torsion Tools toolbar available today. We went through and did a little bit of adjustments in terms of the um, panels. So we still have everything up here under My tab, but once you click on My tab, you'll now see there is a Sheets panel, a Views panel, and a Tools panel. As of update number 3, there was just a Sheets and a Tools panel, but I think some of this stuff started to get enough to where it made sense to split out a Views panel, um, just because of how what things are associated with Views, obviously with Sheets, and then just some tools that are kind of independent of those major things. Although some of these features, like the copy legends and schedules, the linked views, those features were already available. They just would have not, it would have been on the tools panel, not on the views. But things that we've added this time around are views, find and replace. So now we are able to do a find and replace either on the view name or on the view title on sheet. So if we just, and this is case sensitive, just like everything else in Revit. Um, so let's say we wanted to do level 1 and we wanted to do ground floor. Then you hit the preview. You can see now these would all be adjusted. You can also get a sense of which views have a title on sheets, maybe which ones don't. Um, but it's just something. So if we were to hit OK here, you'll actually see now these all got named ground floor instead of level 1. So that's just something that's kind of nice to be able to go through and make changes like that, something I've used quite a bit. The next thing is in order to change a reference. So this is a real section that I cut, and this is a real section. And then these two here are both referencing another view. So see right now, these are both referencing the building section short. But if you wanted to say something adjusted and you wanted to change all the references to building section short to the building section long, what we can do is we can come up here, we can just say the current reference, so what they currently are set to, which is the short, that's what you want to pick, that's how it's going to search. And then you want to set them all to long, that's what you'd like to do, and then you can hit change. It'll go through and it'll cycle through all the reference views, and you can now see that that's to building section long, as is this one. So it's just kind of an easy way to quickly change um, referenced views. Obviously, you can do it with elevations, sections, plans, callouts, different things. Um, just keep in mind that you will need to make sure. I'm going to go back here to building section long, and then I will pick the building elevation, for instance. So since these are not the same view type, you cannot interchange them for one another. So if you try to do that, it's actually going to tell you, the current view and the new view are not the same view type. So one's a section, one's an elevation. You can't make those can't change for each other. So just something to keep in mind when you're going through and doing that. The last thing, which I think can be really helpful for a lot of folks that we added, is actually delete unplaced. So this is actually, we'll go through and look at unplaced views, um, view templates that are not currently being used, schedules that are not on a sheet anywhere, and legends that have not been applied to a sheet. And so what you can do is you could say if you want to take away these two, you can do that. Maybe we'll leave that schedule and we'll take out the empty legend, and then we don't need we don't need the structural plan. So we select those pieces, you hit delete. Deleting the views is not something you can undo. So keep in mind that if you do this, um, then it's gonna stick for sure. So it actually asks if you'd like to save. If you hit yes here, it will not synchronize a work shared model, but it does just save locally as to where you're at. Kind of just a precautionary piece if you need to back up. So I'm just going to hit no here. You see, go through and you can see that structural plan disappeared. The legend that was empty legend is gone. Um, and then if we go here to the view templates manage, you can see now we only have these two. Another easy way to tell if it worked, obviously, is if you rerun this command, you'll see the things that we deleted now missing from the list. So I think that can be a really useful tool. In terms of people using this for development or trying to kind of reference it if you are, some of the other changes that are more just a graphics UI thing is actually going through and changing out all the forms to WPF. So up until now, almost all this stuff um, has been WinForms. So say if we go place legend, if we go to place a legend, uh, dang it, that's what I already did as well. Let's see, linked views is not. So see how this is more like the traditional WinForms square buttons, kind of boring, not a lot of color or pizzazz. So one of the things, like you were saying, is that we're going through and actually adjusting and changing these all to WPF. Now in this case, obviously branding them a little bit, Torsion tools with um, the colors. But that I think the nice thing about it from a development standpoint is you can start to see what opportunities it opens up for you in terms of the XAML and the opportunities for color and for rounded buttons. It's a lot better um, format. It's a little bit trickier because I've been doing WinForms for so long. It's a completely different take on how to supply data, how you're working with lists and whatnot. But
The more I'm working with the WPF model, I'm finding that it's actually pretty easy to get a grasp on. It's a lot more like HTML or CSS in terms of how you do layout and format stuff. So if you have any questions or comments about that, please let me know. If not, as always, check out the GitHub Torsion tool /R20. Yep, have a great day and happy Reviting.